When I speak of the darkness within, I speak of the part of a man that he hides even from himself, the corners of thought that whisper fear, doubt, and desire. Most men live as though this part does not exist. They wrap themselves in excuses, distractions, and comfort to avoid looking at it. But the warrior knows that to avoid the darkness is to surrender before the battle has even begun. True strength does not emerge from comfort, from the easy path, from ignoring the shadows. It emerges when a man stares directly into the parts of himself he fears most, when he refuses to flinch from what he finds, and when he shapes that fear into power. The darkness is not weakness, it is the raw material of mastery, and it must be faced with unflinching honesty. In the quiet of the early hours before the world demands attention, the warrior turns inward. Here is where the first duel begins, not with an enemy, not with circumstance, not with fortune, but with the self. Every fear that lingers, every regret that gnaws, every desire that tempts, these are the opponents that must be confronted before the sword even leaves its sheath. Many men look away. They say, "I will face that tomorrow," or "I am not ready." But the warrior knows that each moment of avoidance strengthens the chains that bind him. The act of seeing clearly, of numbing the fear, of feeling it and continuing forward regardless, is the first victory of the day. The darkness is not simply fear. It is the unacknowledged potential for greatness, hidden behind layers of hesitation, comfort, and weakness. Men do not realize that what they avoid is often the key to their own strength. The temptation to retreat, to seek ease, to follow the path of least resistance is strong and seductive. But the warrior understands that strength is forged only in resistance, only when he deliberately chooses the path that is hardest, most uncomfortable, and most revealing. The moment you lean into what frightens you, the moment you stop hiding, the moment you act when others hesitate, you awaken power that no external force can take from you. Most men live in the daylight, surrounded by clarity and reassurance. But true mastery comes from walking in the night, in the shadow, where mistakes are felt before they are seen, where fear is constant, and where the mind must navigate without certainty. The warrior does not fear this darkness. He learns its shape, he listens to its voice, and he uses it to sharpen his perception. Every thought of weakness, every creeping doubt becomes a tool if faced directly. Avoidance makes weakness permanent, confrontation makes it malleable, something that can be refined and reshaped into strength. Confronting darkness requires honesty. The warrior does not lie to himself. He names his fears, he acknowledges his desires, he measures his limitations. In this reflection there is no illusion, no comforting fantasy, no false hope. He observes what is, not what he wishes were, and from this clarity he builds strategy. The ordinary man will look for signs, for guidance, for external validation, for someone else to light the way. The warrior knows that the first light comes from within. When you illuminate the shadow inside yourself, the rest of the world becomes more manageable. The darkness also reveals truth about discipline. Many men claim to seek mastery but flee whenever the work is difficult, whenever the pain is real, whenever the challenge is personal. Discipline is meaningless without facing what is unpleasant, uncomfortable, and frightening. The warrior embraces the full spectrum of his inner world because this is where his greatest lessons lie. Every moment of resistance, every feeling of weakness, every whisper of doubt is an opportunity. Ignore it and it grows, face it, and it diminishes under the weight of deliberate action. To dwell in the dark is not indulgence in despair but preparation for clarity. The warrior trains the mind in solitude and silence, where no distraction can hide the truth. He sits with the shadow until it speaks clearly, until he understands the root of his fear and the essence of his desire. He watches his impulses rise and fall, his judgments waver, and he learns to remain unmoved. Strength is cultivated in the calm recognition of what is true, not in fleeing from it. And when the warrior leaves the silence, he carries with him a mind that is ready for every battle, every challenge, every deception that the world may present. The ordinary man fears the dark because it shows what he cannot change, what he has failed to achieve, what he has neglected. But the warrior knows that within these revelations lies potential. Weakness discovered is power waiting to be harnessed. Flaws recognized are opportunities for refinement. Pain understood is a lesson etched into the spirit. The moment of fear is the moment to act decisively, not to retreat. The darkness is not the enemy, the refusal to face it is. Every action taken from a place of honesty, from a recognition of the shadow within, carries force. The mind that knows itself strikes with precision. The decisions made by one who has confronted fear are decisive, unclouded by doubt or hesitation. The warrior moves like this because he has walked through his own darkness, unflinching, unrelenting, and observant. He does not act impulsively, he does not follow comfort, he does not give weight to trivial fears. Every movement, every word, every thought is guided by the knowledge of self. The path is not easy, few men can walk it. The world will continue to offer distraction, seduction, and reassurance of weakness. They will tell you to look away, to soften, to seek comfort. Ignore them. Let your first act each day be to confront what others hide, to face what is feared, and to carry it forward as your strength. The shadow within is a mirror. The more clearly you see it, the more clearly you see reality. The more clearly you see reality, the more precisely you can act in the world. This is why few men rise to mastery. They fear the darkness that is themselves. They chase comfort and approval instead of confrontation and clarity. They hope that discipline will be easy, that courage will arrive on its own, that strength will be given to them. The warrior does not hope. He faces the darkness, he acts, and he emerges sharper, stronger, and more prepared than the day before. Do not mistake this for cruelty or obsession. This is the practice of true power, seeing without flinching, feeling without surrender, acting without hesitation. The world outside cannot touch the warrior who has conquered his own inner night. No attack, no loss, no deception can reach the man who has already walked through the fire within, because he carries its heat and its light everywhere. Every morning, every moment, every thought becomes training. To awaken and refuse the darkness is to surrender. To awaken and embrace it, to study it, to measure it, to integrate it, is to build an indomitable mind. Few will understand this. Fewer will walk it. But those who do rise above the ordinary and become unstoppable in body, mind, and spirit. The shadow inside you is the first opponent you must conquer, and in conquering it you forge the unbreakable warrior. Here's a 1,000-word expansion of key point 2 in the Musashi-style speech voice, flowing naturally, aligned with the overall theme, and concluding with a single impactful line. Pain is the teacher that few are willing to embrace. Most men seek comfort, chasing it as though it were the ultimate goal of life. They fill their hours with distractions, pleasures, and conveniences, thinking that avoiding struggle preserves strength. But strength does not grow in comfort. The mind does not sharpen in ease. The spirit does not endure when cushioned by convenience. Pain is the forge, and those who seek it willingly, who endure it deliberately, emerge stronger, sharper, unbroken. To understand this is to understand why the path of the warrior is not meant for the ordinary. It is meant for those who will lean into struggle, who will meet difficulty and suffering not with complaint, but with observation, acceptance, and action. Many fear pain because they mistake suffering for defeat. They think that when hardship comes, it signals failure, that discomfort is the enemy of life. This is a lie told by the weak to the weak, and it poisons the hearts of men who could be strong. The warrior understands that pain is not punishment. Pain is proof that life is being tested. Pain is an opportunity to see the depth of one's endurance, to measure the resilience of the mind and body, and to cultivate an unshakable spirit. Each pang of discomfort is a teacher whispering lessons that cannot be learned in ease. To embrace pain is to strip away illusions. Most men cling to illusions, illusions of safety, illusions of control, illusions of comfort. But when pain comes, these illusions fall away. The man who has never faced real struggle is unprepared for reality. He crumbles when life tests him because he has never learned to persist in the face of suffering. The warrior does not flee the storm. He walks into it deliberately, understanding that the storm shapes him, tempers him, and reveals his true capacity. Each moment of suffering becomes a deliberate act of training, a sharpening of mind, body, and spirit, preparing him for the battles that matter. Pain is also the revealer of truth. Comfort seduces and deceives. It tells you that you are strong when you are weak, that you are prepared when you are fragile, that you are disciplined when you are indulgent. Only in pain does the truth appear. Only in the struggle does a man see himself as he really is. It is in the moments when the body screams to stop, when the mind whispers to quit, when every fiber of being protests, that the warrior discovers what he is made of. To seek pain deliberately is to seek clarity. To endure it willingly is to cultivate unbreakable strength. Suffering is not only physical. The mind encounters pain constantly. Rejection, failure, fear, disappointment, isolation, these are the invisible torments that test men daily. Most men run from them, seeking distraction, seeking denial, seeking comfort that dulls the awareness of their own weakness. The warrior does not flee mental struggle. He observes it, he understands it, he endures it. He turns every insult, every failure, every doubt into a lesson. He examines the fear that arises in his chest, the shame that lingers in his mind, and he shapes them into resilience. Each trial becomes a stepping stone, a measure of endurance, a test of his commitment to mastery. The modern man sees convenience as a sign of progress, but it is the opposite. Convenience weakens, avoidance weakens. Ease breeds soft men who cannot endure, who cannot persevere, who cannot conquer. Pain builds, it tempers the mind, it strengthens resolve, it cultivates patience. The warrior knows that a life without challenge is a life without growth. A man who does not seek to push his limits, who does not place himself in uncomfortable situations, is slowly eroding his own potential. Every act of avoidance is a brick added to the wall that separates him from greatness. Every embrace of difficulty is a hammer striking against that wall, breaking it, opening the path to mastery. To endure pain deliberately is also to gain control over fear. Most men fear suffering because they fear the unknown, they fear discomfort, they fear the collapse of the body or mind. But the warrior understands that fear is a companion to pain, not its master. By walking into pain consciously, by testing himself against it daily, he learns that fear is not to be obeyed but to be understood and neutralized. Pain and fear are teachers, not tyrants. They reveal the edges of capability, they demand courage, and they produce confidence that is impossible to gain in ease. Discipline and pain are inseparable. Discipline is the willingness to continue when every part of you wants to quit. Pain is the test of that discipline. The ordinary man abandons training when it becomes unpleasant, when results are slow, when effort seems heavy. The warrior pushes forward. He knows that the discomfort of today is the strength of tomorrow. Every early rise, every extra repetition, every act of endurance that brings pain instead of pleasure is an investment in power. Pain is temporary, but the strength gained through it is permanent. The world tries to teach men to avoid suffering, but the warrior learns to embrace it as a tool. When battle comes, when life demands more than comfort can provide, only those who have walked through difficulty unflinchingly can endure. Every moment of self-imposed challenge, rising early, pushing beyond exhaustion, facing rejection, enduring criticism, these are the rehearsals for the true tests of life. The mind and body that have been tempered by deliberate pain are unbreakable. Those who have sought only ease crumble at the first serious test. Even failure is a teacher when embraced with courage. Men fear failing because it brings pain, humiliation, and discomfort, but the warrior understands that failure is part of the process. To fail, to feel the sting of inadequacy, to confront what has been lost or done incorrectly, is to gain knowledge and insight that cannot be obtained otherwise. Pain and failure is not the enemy, it is the guidepost. Those who endure it, learn from it, and act again are the men who move closer to mastery. Those who flee it are trapped in mediocrity. Seek pain then not for its own sake, but for what it reveals and what it builds. Push the limits of your body in training. Confront your weaknesses in thought and action. Endure discomfort without complaint. Let each act of deliberate suffering refine you, temper you, and prepare you for moments when the world offers no ease. The warrior is never comfortable, but he is never weak. The ordinary man is always seeking comfort and is always powerless in the face of challenge. Understand this, the path to mastery is forged in pain. Comfort is the illusion that leads men to weakness. Pain is the reality that builds strength. The more you embrace struggle, the more resilient your mind becomes. The more willingly you endure, the sharper your spirit. No moment of ease, no luxury, no indulgence can replace the lessons that suffering delivers. To walk willingly through pain is to walk toward freedom, toward power, and toward the unbreakable mind that the world cannot defeat. Those who fear pain, who avoid it, who flee from the discomfort of reality are forever bound by their own limitations. Those who seek it, understand it, and endure it willingly are the men who rise above the ordinary. They transform suffering into skill, endurance into wisdom, and hardship into power. Pain is the crucible. The mind and body that survive it, sharpened and disciplined, become invincible. To live as a warrior is to embrace pain every day in thought, in action, in struggle. Comfort is for the weak. Pain is the teacher of the strong, the forge of the disciplined, and the secret path to mastery. Strength is born where comfort dies. Ruthless focus is the difference between a man who drifts through life and one who becomes unstoppable. Most men think they are focused, but they are deceived by illusion. They claim to pursue goals, to master skills, to achieve success, yet their attention is scattered. They answer to distraction, to convenience, to approval, to fleeting desire. Their energy is divided, their strength diluted. The warrior understands that every thought and every action carries weight. Every moment of indecision, every act of distraction, every lapse of attention is a loss of power. To focus ruthlessly is to treat the mind as a weapon, honed on a single objective, precise, relentless, and undistracted. The modern man lives surrounded by noise, and he allows it to govern him. Social chatter, empty pursuits, trivial pleasures, they consume time and cloud judgment. The warrior does not merely avoid distraction, he eliminates it with precision. He recognizes that every habit, every person, every entertainment that does not serve his purpose is a thief of strength. Each unnecessary indulgence takes away from the energy that could be invested in mastery. Focus is not simply doing what is necessary. It is refusing to be seduced by anything that weakens the mind or dilutes intent. Ruthlessness in focus means being willing to act decisively, even when others resist or criticize. The ordinary man fears judgment, seeks approval, and alters his course to appease those who cannot see what is essential. The warrior trusts only what he has verified through action, experience, and observation. He does not hesitate because others do not understand, and he does not dilute his purpose to make life easier or more comfortable. Every choice is measured against his objective. Does this serve mastery or does it weaken me? There is no room for compromise. Every distraction is either removed, neutralized, or mastered. The mind that is scattered is a mind that cannot strike with precision. Like a sword swung without intent, energy wasted in random motion accomplishes nothing. To achieve mastery, one must concentrate on the few things that truly matter and give them full force. The warrior identifies what is essential and pours all attention into it. Time is not wasted, energy is not diverted, and every action is deliberate. Nothing is accidental, nothing is left to chance. This focus becomes a force multiplier. turning ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Ruthless focus also demands the courage to eliminate relationships, habits, and attachments that weaken purpose. Most men are unwilling to sever ties with comfort, with distraction, with people who drain attention. The warrior recognizes that the world is filled with distractions disguised as companionship, ease, or entertainment. To preserve the integrity of the mind, he must make choices that others consider extreme, removing influences that cloud judgment, abandoning habits that offer pleasure but no progress, prioritizing solitude and reflection over approval and social indulgence. Focus is a discipline of the will, a choice made repeatedly to protect the clarity of purpose. Observation is inseparable from focus. A distracted mind cannot see what is real. The ordinary man acts on assumptions, hears what he wants to hear, and believes what others tell him. The warrior observes deliberately, continuously, and without bias. He notices the subtle movements, the hidden intentions, the unseen forces at play. His focus is not blind concentration, it is an awareness sharpened to a razor's edge. He understands that clarity of perception allows precision in action, and precision is the weapon that turns effort into dominance. The disciplined mind must also master time. Every day is finite and the ordinary man fritters it away. The warrior treats each hour as a resource to be invested wisely. He plans his actions, measures his efforts, and eliminates unnecessary motion. Every repetition of skill, every act of endurance, every refinement of thought, every application of observation is calculated to build strength. The energy that others squander in distraction is compounded in the warrior's relentless focus, giving him a decisive advantage in every confrontation, every challenge, every moment that demands mastery. Ruthless focus also requires the mastery of internal chaos. The mind is never calm by default. Thoughts arise unbidden, fears, doubts, temptations, desires, they all pull the attention away from what matters. Most men surrender to this noise, allowing it to dictate action or inaction. The warrior does not. He observes these intrusions without attachment, acknowledges them without surrender, and returns the mind to its chosen purpose. This practice, repeated daily, sharpens concentration and builds an internal fortitude stronger than any external obstacle. The mind becomes a blade, unyielding, precise, unstoppable. Sacrifice is the companion of focus. The ordinary man sacrifices nothing, yet achieves little. The warrior sacrifices distractions, pleasures, and false securities because he knows their cost in strength and clarity. Every moment spent indulging in ease is a moment lost in the pursuit of mastery. To act with ruthless focus is to accept discomfort as the price of precision. It is to endure solitude, to reject convenience, and to embrace responsibility for every decision. There is no complaint in this, only recognition of the path and commitment to it. Discipline without focus is wasted. Many men act as though discipline alone is sufficient. They rise early, they train, they work hard, yet their energy is scattered. The warrior understands that focus is the lens through which discipline is magnified. Without clarity of purpose, discipline becomes rote action. With ruthless focus, discipline becomes a weapon, amplifying effort, removing waste, and transforming intention into results. Every repetition, every act of endurance, every step toward mastery carries maximum impact because it is directed with unrelenting attention. Power of focus is also a shield against manipulation. Most men are swayed by opinion, emotion, and appearance. They react to what others demand, to what society approves, to what is fashionable or convenient. The warrior is unmoved. He sees beyond superficiality. He measures reality, acts according to principle, and refuses to allow external noise to influence the mind. This is the strength of ruthlessness, the ability to act decisively, guided only by truth, preparation, and observation. Focus is cultivated through repetition, reflection, and vigilance. It is not an attribute that appears suddenly or is granted by circumstance. The warrior trains the mind as he trains the body. Each day offers countless opportunities to practice attention, to resist distraction, to sharpen awareness. Every small act of deliberate focus builds mental resilience. Every refusal to yield to comfort, to temptation, to unnecessary chatter strengthens the ability to act decisively when the stakes are high. Focus is a muscle forged through constant exercise. Finally, ruthless focus is a mindset, a way of being. It does not turn on and off at will, it permeates every thought, action, and decision. The warrior does not merely concentrate during moments of challenge, he lives in a state of attention, awareness, and clarity at all times. His mind is a weapon, his energy concentrated, his actions decisive, his spirit unyielding. The ordinary man may accomplish a few fleeting victories, but the warrior achieves mastery, dominance, and control, because he has trained the mind to see clearly, act decisively, and refuse all distractions. Ruthless focus separates the ordinary from the exceptional. The world is filled with men who work, who try, who aspire, yet remain weak because their attention is divided. The warrior moves with clarity. He sees, he acts, he endures, and he wins because he has cultivated one truth above all. Energy spent without purpose is wasted. Intent without attention is futile. Only the man who focuses relentlessly, ruthlessly, and without compromise can become unbreakable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. The mind that refuses distraction and acts with precision is the weapon that no opponent can outmatch. Life is a battlefield, but many men fail to see it. They walk through their days assuming that people are trustworthy by default, that the world is fair, that their efforts will be rewarded simply because they are good, or that safety exists in routine. This is the path of weakness, the path that leads to disappointment, betrayal, and destruction. The warrior knows that the moment you step into life, you must be prepared for challenge, you must anticipate conflict. You must expect treachery, hardship, and deception, for these are the true teachers of the mind and the body. To trust blindly is to surrender before the duel even begins. To be prepared is to move through the world with clarity, precision, and unshakable strength. Trust is earned, not given. Many men assume that friendship, loyalty, and respect are automatic, that people will act according to principle without consequence or observation. The warrior sees differently. He understands that people act in self-interest first and that appearances are often misleading. To succeed, a man must rely on himself, on the clarity of his own mind, on the steel of his own preparation. Other men may fail, betray, or falter, but the warrior has built a foundation that no external force can shake. He does not wait for others to act correctly. He acts according to principle and strategy, guided by discipline and awareness rather than hope. Conflict is inevitable. Life is full of trials that are not announced, challenges that are sudden, and forces that will test every ounce of strength. The ordinary man is surprised by difficulty, unprepared, and broken by the first sign of resistance. The warrior does not wait for challenge, he anticipates it. He prepares for every scenario, studies the patterns of human behavior, understands the nature of struggle, and cultivates the mental resilience necessary to face the unexpected without fear. He trains in quiet, everyday moments so that when the moment of confrontation arrives, his mind and body act decisively, without hesitation, without doubt, without distraction. Mental self-sufficiency is the greatest armor a man can possess. To rely on others for guidance, protection, or validation is to build weakness into your foundation. The ordinary man clings to opinion, to friendship, to convenience, believing that safety and success will be delivered by external forces. The warrior knows that reality will not accommodate him. He cannot command loyalty, predict behavior, or control circumstance. What he can control is himself, his perception, his judgment, his actions. Every thought is sharpened, every skill refined, every decision weighed against principle and truth. This self-reliance is the shield that protects against betrayal, deception, and the chaos of life. The battlefield of life is not always physical. Often it is mental, emotional, and strategic. The ordinary man is unprepared for this, swept away by emotion, misled by appearances, or broken by surprise. The warrior trains not only the body but also the mind, cultivating awareness, discipline, and the ability to act rationally under pressure. He observes patterns, he anticipates moves, and he remains calm even when others panic. By preparing mentally for conflict, he turns chaos into opportunity. And he learns to thrive where others falter. Observation is the greatest weapon in preparation. To anticipate conflict, one must see clearly. The ordinary man acts on assumption, reacts to rumor, and trusts appearances. The warrior watches, listens, and measures every situation. He notes the intentions of others, the signs of hidden danger, the subtle movements that reveal truth. He interprets what he sees with precision, distinguishing between what is surface and what is essential. This awareness is not passive. It informs every decision, guides every action, and keeps him several steps ahead of those who act blindly. Preparation is also relentless. The ordinary man prepares only when he must, often too late and usually with fear clouding judgment. The warrior prepares continuously, even in moments of calm, for he understands that opportunity and danger do not announce themselves. He sharpens skills daily, tests strategies in small exercises, and hones his mind through reflection and study. By the time conflict arrives, he has rehearsed, practiced, and refined his response countless times. His readiness is not accidental. It is deliberate, built over years, and unshakable in its foundation. To anticipate conflict is not to be paranoid, it is to be realistic. The warrior does not assume malevolence where none exists, but he does not ignore the truth of human nature. He understands that desire, fear, envy, and ambition drive behavior, and that these forces will influence every encounter. By accepting this, he can act decisively, without surprise, without hesitation, without being manipulated. Trust is measured, alliances are strategic, and dependence is minimized. His mind becomes a fortress, and his actions precise instruments of purpose. Preparation also extends to endurance. Conflict tests not only skill but stamina, resilience, and the ability to endure adversity without faltering. The ordinary man tires quickly, complains, and succumbs to frustration or fear. The warrior endures, practicing restraint, patience, and composure. He has built the inner strength to persist, to recover quickly from setbacks, and to continue the battle when others have surrendered. Endurance is a form of power, a quiet, unassailable strength that others cannot see until it is revealed in decisive moments. The warrior's preparation encompasses all aspects of life. He does not neglect mind for body nor body for mind. He sharpens skill, cultivates awareness, and strengthens character. He studies tactics, strategy, human behavior, and consequence. Every element of life is considered and incorporated into the training of the mind and spirit. This holistic preparation ensures that when conflict arises, he's ready not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, and strategically. He does not stumble, he does not hesitate, he acts decisively, precisely, and without doubt. Even solitude becomes a form of preparation. The ordinary man fears being alone, fearing boredom, isolation, or the absence of guidance. The warrior welcomes solitude because it is in these moments that the mind can sharpen, that reflection can reveal truth, that weakness can be confronted. Solitude trains him to rely on himself, to trust his judgment, and to develop clarity of thought. A man who cannot endure his own company is ill-prepared for the inevitable tests of life, for the battlefield respects neither comfort nor companionship. Preparation and anticipation also demand humility. The warrior knows he cannot control every outcome, that he will encounter challenges beyond expectation. He does not allow pride to blind him, nor assumption to guide him. He trains to respond, to adapt, and to act decisively, recognizing that flexibility and awareness are just as important as raw strength. To ignore this is to invite defeat. To embrace it is to move confidently through life, ready for conflict, aware of danger, and equipped to overcome it. Ultimately, the warrior's ability to survive and dominate is not found in external circumstance but in the mastery of preparation and self-reliance. The ordinary man hopes, the ordinary man trusts, the ordinary man waits. The warrior acts. He anticipates, he observes, he prepares, and he executes. He carries no illusion that the world is kind or fair, and he does not rely on it to support him. Every success, every victory, every act of endurance is a product of deliberate foresight and rigorous preparation. To trust blindly is weakness. To anticipate, prepare, and rely on the mind is strength. The battlefield of life rewards those who see clearly, act decisively, and guard themselves against the unpredictable nature of men and circumstance. The ordinary man is led by hope. The warrior is led by principle, strategy, and preparation. When the moment of conflict arrives, he is unshakable, unyielding, and unconquerable. The world may betray, circumstances may shift, allies may fail, and challenges may appear without warning. But the warrior who has prepared, who has anticipated, and who has strengthened the mind against all deception and surprise, moves through these trials with clarity and precision that no ordinary man can match. A mind that trusts only itself, that prepares relentlessly, and that anticipates the battlefield in all forms is the mind that cannot be defeated.